Hello all, it's nice to see you all back again. Virtually back again. We are going to be focusing on the elements of fiction in a brief suffixes lesson. And this is also following the 2.6a TEKS. So in elements of fiction, last week we had read the Ye Shen from our mentor textbook, and we had kind of dived into talking about the different aspects of this story. However, today we're going to create a elements of fiction web diagram, and the components that we'll be filling in are the setting, and that's where our Ye Shen story took place and also when it took place. The characters are the people and animals in the story. We will know that there are not just people, there's also an animal in that story that has a very key part to the story. A plot, and so what happens in kind of the main events, and the conflict, essentially like the problem and it challenges that the characters that must respond to. And then last but not least, the theme, and that's the message that the author wants to share with the readers. So we did talk about how Ye Shen is a folk tale, and those are passed down from generation to generation. They don't stay entirely the same. They have been altered from way back when it even started, and they've been altered maybe for the different generational purposes or just by the storytelling itself. But Ye Shen is a very important it kind of digs deeper into the Cinderella story, so to speak, because Ye Shen was actually told in their part of I believe it was in China. This is a Chinese folktale. Yeah, it is a Chinese folktale. So I do know that Ye Shen was kind of their Cinderella take on like America's version of Cinderella. But so what I want you guys to do in this next coming week, whenever we meet for class, I want you guys to have on your desk, you will have an elements of fiction blank diagram, and you're going to come in and you'll be able to take out your mentor text and refer back to it as needed. But you're going to be filling in the setting, the characters, the plot, the conflict, and the theme. And it is completely okay with me to kind of refer and discuss with your neighbors about what they're kind of filling in, because not everyone's going to think the same exact thing as the conflict or the theme. Definitely the theme is going to be it's going to be varying to what people think and how they took the folktale in their own minds. But definitely the setting probably is going to be around the same thing. Character is going to be around the same. So definitely you can use the opportunity to talk to your neighbors at the table when we meet tomorrow for our elements of fiction lesson. And next we have suffixes. We're also going to be talking about suffixes this week. Last week we talked about prefixes, and this week we're going to be talking about suffixes. It's a word ending that goes after the base word. So, for example, an affix itself, because we talked about prefixes last week and suffixes this week, both of those are an affix, and they go at the, that's kind of may have been written wrong. And a suffix goes at the end of a root or base word, and it's called a suffix. So let's go ahead and dive into this anchor chart here, which will also be posted tomorrow when you come in for class. It is so the suffix full, and essentially that translates into full of. So with it being November and Thanksgiving just around the corner, if I'm thankful for something, that means I'm full of thanks for my family or anything like that. So the suffix ly is in a way. So if I happily get to the Thanksgiving table, I'm happy. In the way is that I'm happy getting to the Thanksgiving table. The suffix less is without. So I'm very restless for the food this week. So I'm without rest. I'm kind of super anxious for it, and so on and so forth. You see that there's different suffixes that we have. So you guys are going to be kind of essentially writing your own story using 5 or more suffixes that you can. This anchor chart will be up for you to refer to as well, and I want you guys to try your hardest remember that the prefix becomes at the beginning of the word and the suffix is at the end of the root or base word. And that is it. I want you guys to kind of, if you need to pause or go over this again, you can go over this video again. You can before we meet tomorrow in class. And we will have a very brief quiz at the end of this video just to kind of go over, make sure you guys pay attention and got everything down. So just a brief summary, we went over the elements of fiction and suffixes, and we had an anchor chart here, or a diagram here, I'm sorry, for the story Ye Shen that we've been reading these past 2 weeks. And tomorrow when you come in for class, you'll be reading the setting. You'll be filling in the setting, the characters, the plot, conflict, and the theme, and you'll be able to refer to your neighbors and discuss with them as well. Also, you guys are going to be writing a story using 5 or more suffixes, and I want you guys to refer to this anchor chart definitely, because sometimes I didn't even know that some of these suffixes, what they meant, so it's definitely very helpful. And don't forget to take the quiz at the end, and thank you. Bye.